Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I have a new lacy flower project to share with you. There are so many possibilities for this stitch. I made a lacy flower scarf, well, rather a shawl, because it came out quite wide, 14 inches wide to be exact, so it's more of a shawl than a scarf. But of course you can make it in any size you want. If you have a dark wood table and you use a light color yarn the way I did and make a table runner, it will look absolutely stunning. Another idea for this stitch is a summer blouse, and that's what I have in mind. I didn't block my shawl as I'm thinking of unraveling it and using the same yarn and this same stitch to crochet myself a summer blouse, and hopefully I will be able to enjoy wearing it before the summer is over. In the description box below the video, I will post all the information about the yarn, hook size, multiple for the stitch, as well as links to the written pattern. For the actual scarf, I started with 273 chains, but for my sample, I started with 53 chains. So in the first row, I had 51 double crochets. I'm not going to demonstrate the first 3 rows of the pattern, which are quite easy, and most of you will be able to finish them without my help. I'm going to move on to the flowery part of the pattern, which starts at the row number 4. I start this row with 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 of these chains will count as a treble and 1 chain will count as chain 1. Next, I skip 2 double crochets, and into the next double crochet I work a treble, then 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the same double crochet I work 1 more treble. Now I'm going to start working the flower. I make 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these 4 chains will count as a treble. Now into the 4th chain from the hook I work 2 unfinished trebles. 1, I don't finish it, and 1 more. 2. So now I have 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to skip the next 2 double crochets, and into the next one I will work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Now I have 6 loops on the hook. I skip the next 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the next one I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Now I have 9 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and I pull the yarn through all of those 9 loops. I make 1 chain and I pull it really tight to secure these 3 petals of the flower together. Next, 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these 4 chains also count as a treble. And now into this stitch where all of these 9 stitches were drawn together or finished together, that's where I make 2 unfinished trebles. 1 and 2. Now I finish them together and I make 1 chain and I pull it tight to secure this petal. So here I have 4 petals of my first flower. Now the pattern begins to repeat from here. I skip 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and into the next one I work a treble, 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the same double crochet I work 1 more treble. And again, I'm going to work the petals of the flower. So 4 chains, and into the first chain from the hook, I work 2 unfinished trebles. 1 and 2. I skip the next 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and into the next one I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. I skip the next 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the next one again I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Now I have 9 loops on the hook, yarn over, and I pull the yarn through all of those 9 loops, 1 chain, and I pull it really tight to secure these 3 petals of the flower. Now 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the stitch or space where these 3 petals were joined, I work 2 unfinished trebles. 1 and 2. Now I finish them together and I make 1 chain and I pull it tight to secure. And now the pattern begins to repeat from here again, and that's how I'm going to crochet this row. Here I finished this row and I finished it with treble, 5 chains treble, then skip 2 double crochets, and into the last double crochet I made a treble. I turn my work and I start the next row with 9 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 of these chains will count as a treble and 5 chains will count as chain 5. Now into the next chain 5 space right here I make a single crochet. Next 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm going to finish this flower. I will insert the hook into the stitch right here where these 9 unfinished trebles were joined together and where that last petal was worked. So right here in the middle of the flower, and there I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, 3. Now I finish them together and I make 1 chain and I pull it tight to secure this petal. Next 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again into the same stitch I work 3 unfinished trebles, which I will finish together, and that will give me the last petal of the flower. And I finish them together and I make 1 chain and I pull it tight to secure that last petal. And now the flower is complete. Next I work 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into this next chain 5 space I work a single crochet. Now the pattern begins to repeat from here. 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again I'm going to finish the flower right here. Into the middle of the flower I work 3 trebles finished together. 1, 2, and 3. I finish them together and I make 1 chain. I pull it tight to secure the petal. Then 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right here I work the last petal. So 3 trebles finished together. And 1 chain to secure them. Then 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the next chain 5 space I make a single crochet, and that's how I'm going to finish this row. And here I am at the end of the row. I just made 5 chains and a single crochet into this last chain 5 space. Then again 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over here I have these 5 turning chains, and 4 of them count as a treble, and then 1 chain counts as chain 1 space. So into the 4th chain, counting from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, over there I make a treble. And now I have 1 row of the flowers finished. I start the next row with 8 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 of these chains will count as a treble, and the other 4 will also count as a treble, but they will count as an unfinished treble, because now I'm going to start working on the next flower. So into the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, right here I work 2 unfinished trebles. 1 and 2. Now into the 3rd chain of this chain 5 I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. And now over here I have chain 5, and also into the 3rd chain I work 3 more unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. And just the way I did before, I now finished 9 trebles on the hook together. I make 1 chain, pull it tight to secure them, and then I work the next petal. So 4 chains, and into the stitch right here, 2 trebles, 2 unfinished trebles, and now I finish them all together. 1 chain and pull tight to secure that petal. Now I have 5 chains in between these petals right here, and into the middle, the 3rd chain of those 5 chains, I work a treble, then 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the same chain I work 1 more treble. And now the pattern begins from here. I'm gonna start making a flower again. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Into the 4th chain from the hook I work 2 unfinished trebles. Into the next chain 5 right here, into the 3rd chain of those 5 chains I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. And again over here I have 5 chains, and into the 3rd chain of those 5 chains I work 3 more unfinished trebles. Now I have 9 loops on the hook, yarn over, and I finish them all together. 1 chain and pull it tight to secure. 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I work 1 more petal. finish together, 1 chain, pull tight to secure. And over here into the next chain 5 space, into the 3rd chain of the next chain 5, I work a treble, 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again a treble. And that's how I'm going to continue crocheting this row. Here I am at the end of the row, working on the last flower of this row, and I'm going to make the 3rd petal. I already worked 2. Over here I have 9 chains, so I'm going to make the 3rd petal into the 7th chain, counting from the bottom of these 9 chains that were my turning chains. So right here, 1, 2, and 3. Now I finished them all together, 1 chain to secure, and now I work the last petal. And 1 chain to secure. Now I need to finish this row with a treble, and I'm going to work that treble into the 4th chain of those turning 9 chains, counting from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here I work a treble, and this row is finished. Now in this row I have 5 flowers. Over here I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but over here I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I start the next row with 5 chains. 4 of them count as a treble and 1 as 1 chain. And now I need to finish the flower over here. So into the middle of the flower I work 3 trebles finished together, and 1 chain to secure them, pull tight. Then 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the same stitch I work 3 more trebles finished together. And that's gonna be another petal. And 1 chain and pull it tight. And this flower is finished. Then 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the next chain 5 space right here I work a single crochet. Now again 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here I will finish the flower again, and that's how I'm going to continue crocheting this row. At the end of the row here I finished the last petal, and now I make 1 chain, and I'm going to make a treble into the top chain of these 4 turning chains. And this row is finished. So now I have 2 finished rows of the flowers, and the next row is going to be the same as this row right here. The difference is this row was worked into the base row of double crochets, but here I will be working that row into this chain 5 spaces. Another thing I want to mention is right now it looks like my piece is widening, but as I crochet more rows, it will go straight. Also, once the entire shawl is finished, I will also make a row of single crochets on the sides right here, so that as well will help straightening the edges on this side and on this side of the piece, and also blocking will help even more. Okay, so I'm going to show the beginning of the next row, even though it's very similar to this one, but we are going to work it into the chain 5 spaces. I start with 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 of them count as a treble and 1 chain counts as chain 1. Next, into the 3rd chain of these 5 chains, I work a treble, 5 chains, and another treble. Now I will start working the next flower. So 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the 4th chain from the hook, I work 2 unfinished trebles. 1 and 2. I keep them on the hook, and into the 3rd chain of these 5 chains, I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. And again into the 3rd chain of the next 5 chains, I work 3 unfinished trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Now I finish all of them together and I make 1 chain to secure them. Then 4 chains, and I make 1 more petal. And now into the 3rd chain of the next 5 chains, in between these petals, I work a treble, then 5 chains, and another treble. And then the pattern begins to repeat again. So that's what you need to do. You need to repeat rows 5 through 8 for this beautiful lacy flower pattern. And just look how pretty it looks. And one thing I want to mention over here is that if you're gonna make your shawl or scarf with this border, the same border that I made, over here into this last row of the flowers, you will need to decrease the amount of chains in those chain 5 spaces. So in the previous rows it was always chain 5, but in this very last row before the border you will need to decrease the amount of chains. So over here it's gonna be chain 3, and in between the last 2 petals it's gonna be chain 2. Then again over here chain 3, and in between the 2 petals it's chain 2, and that will give you the straight edge. And also if you then choose to make a border, making a double crochet into each stitch and into each chain, the amount of double crochets over here on this side will be the same as the amount of the double crochets at the bottom where you started your work. And one last thing to do to finish this shawl would be crocheting a row of single crochets over here into the ends of rows. I haven't done it yet, but that's what I'm going to do so that I have a nice edge on this side and on the other side of my shawl.